Hello, so today's video is going to be another winter update on the pond. As it turns out, I have footage from both before and after the last winter update, and seeing as it is no longer really winter in Ohio, I figured I would release this footage now and talk about when it was filmed and what it pertains to. But it's been interesting watching the pond progress throughout the winter, and now that it is more springtime, we'll do videos talking about the plants that are now coming up, which is really exciting. So let's jump into this first clip, which was filmed on December 1st. Okay guys, so it snowed. As you can see, there's some snow. And here's the pond. Came out to check on it, and I figured I would share it with you guys. It's very weird to see it like this, but I'd imagine it's really cold. So there's that, but it's still running somehow. The concern is that that tube that you can see there, right there, will freeze, and then at that point I'll have to unplug the pump. But like the whole filter box is just covered in snow, but again the water's still running. So it's pretty interesting. It seems to be melting any snow that gets too close or whatever. There's kind of some sludge there on the log, but it looks very out of place in a very white landscape. But yeah, I figured I would share it with you guys because, I don't know, it's just weird to see, especially with duckweed, because all the duckweed's still alive and pretty much fine, so it'll probably die off throughout the winter. But I will come out and break any ice that ends up forming, because I'm sure this is going to start getting covered in ice. I'm not entirely sure why it isn't now, but it's very snowy and stuff out here, so that's pretty interesting. Now we're going to move on to January 23rd, when this next clip was filmed, the first time that the pond froze over, more or less. Okay, so I believe this is the first time this pond is actually properly frozen, but just because of that water flow, it didn't freeze that part, so then there's still oxygen exchange for the fish. And there are fish in here, and I see them quite a lot, and I actually see one right now. So from all the ones I took out, there are still fish in here, and they seem to be doing well throughout the winter. But it was pretty cold last night, and it did freeze for the first time, I think, but yet it's still flowing and doing just fine. So at some point between what you just saw and what you'll eventually see, I filmed what was in the last winter update. So I don't know why I didn't include the first footage for the first winter update. I'm not really sure, but I think it was just because I'd filmed the other stuff rather recently as of editing that video, and that's how I got it out. With school and everything, I'm all over the place with editing and stuff. So basically what I kept up doing was just having to break the ice a little bit. Maybe I didn't even need to, because no matter what, that waterfall never stopped, never had any issues. There was always water flow, and therefore even how deep the snow got, there was always always surface area for the water, which is important because you need to have oxygen exchange from the water. The water needs to not be completely frozen over, especially in such a small pond, because there needs to be some type of oxygen exchange for the fish, so then the water still contains oxygen, and obviously the waterfall helps with that, creating more surface area and ripples and stuff and keeping it unfrozen. So if I didn't have a waterfall or I didn't have anything running, then it would probably be concerning to just let it completely freeze over. I probably could have just left it and let it freeze as much as it would, and then left it, and the waterfall would have kept it doing all right on its own. But I just, as a precaution, broke the ice whenever possible, because I don't know, why not. But one of the times it kind of got covered in snow, and you guys are about to see that. So one day that we actually had a snow day, it snowed a ton, it was crazy. So you're about to see that, and how much it just completely covered the pond, and what this pond properly went through a couple of times during this winter.
Man, it's really...
So that was a bit of a silent update on a lot of things, but as you can see, the snow was literally like leveling off the entire fenced-in area of the front yard turtle area, which was just insane. It completely filled the stock tank. It was just nuts. So there was a lot of snow, and the pond made it through that, and that's not a very common amount of snow in Ohio. Like that, I think that hadn't happened in quite a few years, that type of thing, and I had to shovel my driveway. It was awful. Anyway, this is what the pond lived through. All the fish are fine, or at least, like I still see fish in there, and I even did during the winter sometimes. I would see one, dart around. Once it started getting up to like 60, I'd start seeing them more towards the surface. So I've been seeing them more and more. Even the frogs have come out at this point in the year. But this was filmed on February 16th, and it is now April 17th, so it's been 2 months since then, and nothing else particularly interesting happened during the winter besides what I filmed, I guess, or not that I can remember anything, so nothing big. The pond stayed very full. It kept flowing even though the tubing's completely exposed. It didn't freeze at all. So everything's been great with it. I wouldn't keep turtles in it year-round because even though the water isn't frozen all the way, I think it's colder than freezing because it's still flowing and everything. So I feel like the water would get way too cold even at the very bottom of that small pond. So I'm hoping to create a much bigger pond this summer that is just a lot bigger, very deep, and would be very adequate to house turtles in all year round here in Ohio, because most of my turtles are native turtles, and if I can house like a good majority of them outside all year round, that would be very, very, very helpful and just good all around. So that's what I'm going to be trying to be doing this summer. And also, I'll probably add more plants to this area as I see needed, because I'm not sure how it'll fill in this year. Hopefully it'll be more filled in than it was last year, because all the plants have, ran through the winter in this area. So that's what we're hoping for this year. And like I said, a new turtle area as well. There'll be turtles in this one, which is pretty sad because I like to see my frogs, and I'm guessing the turtles and the frogs won't cohabitate very well. So we'll see how all that goes. And with this being such a big area, I'm concerned about how the turtles will do. So it'll be interesting to see that. And that's all coming up this summer, and I'll be doing videos. So I think I'm just going to be doing videos once a week for the rest of school. I don't think I'm going to have time to do them on Wednesdays. If I do, then I will, but if I don't, then I won't. So just expect videos on Saturday from now on, just because there's so much going on. I just I can't express it. I know people won't necessarily understand it, but that's all right. I do a lot with so many different things. So I will definitely get everything out on Saturdays, but it might not happen at 9 o'clock in the morning, unfortunately, which is what I had been doing. But that hasn't been happening either. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you happen to, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, comments below. And if you're more content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day.